Welcome to the Careers by Jen podcast, episode 273. On this episode of the podcast, Jen reflects on midlife career change success strategies. I'm totally open to a midlife career change. For it to be successful, the first thing I need to know is which superhero costumes are available in my size.
You're listening to the Careers by Jen podcast. I'm your host, Jen Swanson. This is the podcast that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Careers by Jen is a listener-sponsored podcast, and if you like the content, please consider supporting the show as a patron. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. Head over to careersbyjenn.com and click on support to learn more. Are you in the middle of changing your career or considering doing so? Are you wondering about how to do it or even if it's possible? Well, I've changed careers a few times in my life. Often, actually. Often what I've done is I've added on a career and kept doing the first one for quite some time, and then finally let the first one go when I felt confident. And my most recent career change involved going back to school to get a master's degree and then going on into ministry. And I did that in my 40s. So all that to say that I've been there, and today I want to talk about some myths, some ideas, and some success strategies that might help you if you are considering changing careers and your midlife. All right, let's jump right into this after this.
You've updated your resume, you've sent it out, and you've been selected for an interview. Congratulations! And now, you want to get ready. Really ready. This is where Careers by Jen can help. We have a comprehensive online course called How to Ace a Job Interview When You Haven't Interviewed in a Long Time. This video-based course is jam-packed with information, advice, and exercises to help you get completely prepared to walk into an interview situation with confidence. From exactly what to prepare in advance, to how to answer common questions, to what questions you might ask the interviewer, and so much more, this course is designed to get you ready. Visit careersbyjenn.com and click on Training Resources to see the curriculum, preview a couple of the introductory lessons, and see what others who have taken the course are saying about it. Visit careersbyjenn.com and get ready to ace your next interview.
Jen here, and welcome to this podcast where I help you to get the job, love the work that you're already doing, and or advance your career. This podcast is recorded on the unceded and traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, including the Matsqui, the Kwantlen, the Katzie, the Semiahmoo, and the Stolo First Nations. Midlife career success change. Midlife career change success. Midlife success. I want to talk about a myth or a negative thought or a bad story we of a certain age might be telling ourselves to start with here. And that is that it is too late. That is a pile of hooey, my friends. It is not too late. In fact, retirement age is being pushed back. People are retiring from one career and then starting new things and working much, much longer than traditionally or than they used to. People are doing all sorts of things, and they are working longer and they are happier. And it is well documented that continuing to do something productive and useful well into advanced years is better for your health and well-being than not doing so, than just stopping. So it's not too late to make a change. It's very good for your brain, and it's very good for your happiness and your well-being and your physical well-being as well, to keep doing something productive and interesting that challenges you, that you love to do because you want to do it. The next thing I want to talk about is mindset, which is a very, very big part of deciding how you proceed in this endeavor. If you've been listening to me for a while, you will know that one of my favorite sayings is, don't believe everything you think. And if you haven't heard me say that, well, I just said it. I don't know who first said it. I did not come up with it, but I love this statement because I often do at least start to believe those negative, nasty things that my mind is telling me, like it's too late to be starting on a new adventure. And I start to believe these things. And what it is it's the mind trying to protect us. The mind is trying to keep things stable, to keep things the same, to not challenge the body. But honestly, those voices can be pretty nasty and pretty discouraging. And the whole you're too old, it's going to be too much work, it's going to take too long to learn something new, who's going to want to hire me? I don't have a resume even, I haven't interviewed in years, why do I think someone is going to hire me when I only have, X number of years left to work, blah, 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 blah. Your mind will come up with your own nasty negatives. Mine does all the time. But hey, the thing is, you can tell it to be quiet. I would tell it to something more colorful, but I can't say that on the air because the show is clean rated. But you could tell your mind to be quiet. You can control your mindset. It's one of the things that you will want to start doing, is paying attention to these insidious negative thoughts so that you can stop them in their tracks. I did a whole episode actually on automatic negative thoughts. I can't remember which episode it is, but it wasn't that long ago. So you could go back and look for it. It was called Killing Ants, Automatic Negative Thoughts. And no ants were harmed in the making of that episode. But take a listen to that, because you can have some control. You can do that. You can stop these negative thoughts by challenging them, by questioning them, and by really looking at the fears and the worries that these thoughts are, that are underlying these thoughts that your mind is coming up with. Let's take for example, it's going to take too long to learn something new. Let's look at that thought. Let's look at that particular fear. Well, yes, whatever your career change is, it might take a few years for you to get it ready. It took me 7 years of part-time study and hours of transiting on a bus and a train and then a bus, all while working another part-time job and raising a family to get my degree. 7 years. I used to joke with the students who came in and finished their undergrads in 3 years that I'd still be there when they came back to start in their PhD studies. And maybe I was. I was doing a little bit at a time over a long period of time. But slow and steady wins the race. I did it, and I changed careers. And once, and I did that. I went from hospital working in healthcare, to church ministry. I was teaching college in there. My resume looks like I'm 80 years old for all the things I've done so far. But you know what? My mind needs to be challenged, and I'm a lifelong learner. So I'm always learning something, taking courses, upgrading skills constantly. And every once in a while it'd be like, oh, I could do that. Let me learn how. And off I go, right? So I was teaching college in there, and I still taught part-time for a while doing ministry. And it wasn't that long ago that I went back and did a few weeks of student supervision in hospitals for a college who invited me to come back and do some of that teaching because I love it. So I seem to hang on to things and hang on to the old things for a long time before feeling comfortable enough to make the jump and let them go. So I sort of ease out of one thing and ease into a new thing. But no matter how long it takes, time is going to be passing by anyway. And so if time is going to be passing by anyway, why not use that time to learn something you want to learn and to train to do something you want to do that you find interesting and give yourself new and exciting opportunity. It's not going to take too long. It's going to take the time that it takes, and you'll be right there anyway. So why not? Why not spend some of your time learning something that will serve you well and bring you new adventure in your future? So be wary of your brain and its harebrained ideas. And yes, ageism is real, and there are some careers and some organizations that might not be very keen to hire someone who doesn't possibly have many years left, but there are a lot of people that are looking for the wisdom and the experience of someone who has already lived a career and done a lot of things and learned a lot of skills along the way. And so there are very, very good points and very, very good reasons why someone in midlife would be more attractive and more hireable or interesting to an organization than somebody fresh out of school, right? It depends. There are good points to each. And so we can never say that there isn't any discrimination or bias out there. But a lot of the "this isn't going to work" mentality comes from within you, not from the outside, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sometimes there are external factors, but a lot of the resistance, a lot of the caution, a lot of the discouragement may come from within you. Because if you really want it, and as long as you are qualified, willing, and able, you will most likely figure out a way to make it happen. With hard work and determination and support from your loved ones, because that is key, that's important. It's very hard to do anything major like a career change without support. I made my career change happen, and it was a long, slow road, but I had a lot of support in doing it. So if you can do that, then you will get there. And I am so very happy that I did that. And I hope that you take that step. If there is something that you are very, very interested in doing, that you take that step, do a little bit of risk taking there, and just see. Now, maybe you haven't chosen what it is that you want to do next, and maybe this is the part you need to spend more time working on and thinking about and discerning. I have coaching clients for whom this is the main subject of our time, helping them to figure out what they want to do and what they don't want to do, which is equally as important. Life is too short to do something you don't want to do or don't like doing. Now, of course, in every career, in every role, there are parts of it that you don't like. I don't like policy and administrative stuff. I am a creative. I'm an intuitive. I like to connect. I like to create. I like to dream. I like to write. I like to speak. But I don't like sitting down and writing reports and filling out paperwork and doing all of that. I have to do it. It's part of what I do. But I would far prefer to sit down and write something or create something than I would to have to do the accounting or the books or the paperwork. So there are parts of every role that are not a lot of fun. But for the most part, I love what I do in all of it, in everything that I do. And so that's what you want to be doing. Choose something that you are going to love doing. And here's the thing, usually by midlife, and you can define midlife in any way you like. I am 53 and I think I'm just coming into midlife. We'll see what happens, right? But I feel energetic and I have lots that I want to accomplish. And so here's hoping. But midlife can be however you define it. By midlife, usually you've done some stuff. You've bought some stuff, probably lots of stuff, accumulated stuff. You've maybe started and or raised a family. You've maybe traveled before COVID. You've maybe settled, as they say, settled into something, laid down some roots, that kind of thing. So by now it's time to really consider what you want to do in light of your why, your purpose. What are you here to do? What gifts, what talents, what skills and abilities and tendencies and passions what can you offer the world in the form of a new career? How can you serve, if I may use that language? What is it that you can give back and do with what you've already got? You can figure this out on your own. You might need some guidance in how to do that by speaking to some friends, some loved ones, doing some research, doing some journaling, some reflecting, hiring a coach, whatever way you do that. But one thing to do is don't skimp on this time. Take the time that you need. Make lists of what you do like and what you don't like in a career. Who and what do you want to get up for in the morning? There's the question. Are you someone who loves fast and busy and the excitement of an unpredictable day, or a day that's different every day? Or do you prefer slow and easy-paced and a very predictable and routine situation? Do you like working with a team, or are you someone who works best on your own? Do you want to work for a great big company that's global or huge in scope? Or do you want to work for a very small little local company? Are you interested in venturing into the world of being an entrepreneur and working for yourself? Lots and lots of people are doing that these days. And so that's a whole other learning curve if you've never done it before. But maybe that's something that you're interested in. I know for a fact there's at least one person, if not two, that I have listening to this podcast who have done just that. And so it is very, very possible. There are so many questions, but these are the questions to spend time with, to really address thoroughly before jumping in to make it happen. Another thing to think about in making a career change is your skill development. What skills or courses or training do you need to take to be able to be competitive or even qualified to do the thing that you want to do? And do you have the time and the money, the funding, to be able to do this? Now I already talked about going back to school for many years. It may not involve that. It may be that you are just changing companies, doing the same thing or the same kinds of things that you already can do. Or maybe you're moving to a new role or a new career, and all of the things that you've done before would translate very easily over to this new situation. So it depends on are there gaps? Are there little things that you need to beef up? Are there courses that you need to take, skills that you need to get better at? And can you start small if you're not in a rush to make this move? Can you start small? I started with just one university course in my 40s just to see if I wanted to pursue an entire degree. I was dipping my toe in the water, as it were. I ended up taking all the courses I was allowed to take. I can't remember what the word is for it, but they had about 12 courses that you were allowed to take before you had to lock in to a program. And once you locked in, you had to finish and you were committed. So I took all the programs I was allowed to take without committing, because committing seemed to me to be a massive step. And I actually completed a diploma. It was a diploma in theological studies first. And then that would be credited towards a master's degree if I wanted to keep going, which I ended up doing. But I did that first, just, baby steps, right? One little step at a time. And I fell completely in love with the whole university learning thing. I loved the reading. I loved the interaction, even though I was older than many of my classmates. And it took me hours to commute there and back. But I started with one course. So what one skill or course or process do you need to have to be able to feel competent in the new role that you move into? And how can you make that happen? Is there an online course or an evening weekend course that you can take? There's so much out there right now and so much online that you could even take courses and training sessions in completely different provinces, states, countries than where you are living now, because so much has gone online. It's quite freeing in many ways to be able to do such things from the comfort of your own home, and you wouldn't have the commute that I used to have. So there are probably training sessions and courses and skill-based development programs that you can take if you need them. All you need to do is start with the research. And one thing I recommend you do is tell somebody that you're researching this. I have it in my mind that I'm interested in maybe learning how to X. And tell somebody that, because guess what? Once you tell someone about it, they'll start asking you about it. And a bit of accountability is a good thing, right? How is that, program you were looking into? How it kind of starts as a little niggling inspiration for me, and then I'll say something to someone about it, and then the next thing you know, that's all I can think about, and off I go. I don't know if that's how it works for you, but that's how it works for me. So one step at a time, and you will get to where you want to be. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is not the last topic on this subject by any means, there are many more things to consider, but the last one that I have time for today is getting your materials together, getting your job search started if you are at the point where you are ready to do that. If you have an old resume, pull it out and start updating it. Maybe you have to completely rewrite it, but at least if you have a copy of the old one, you'll remember names and dates and details that you might not remember if you're just doing it from the top of your head. So find that resume, create a cover letter. Cover letters are still and always important. And I have a podcast about that. I have an article that I posted about how to write a cover letter, and you can find that on LinkedIn. I believe it's there on my LinkedIn page. And I also, it may be a blog post. I don't know. I've put it in a number of places, and I've done a podcast version of it as well. So that's how to write a cover letter. So make sure you have a cover letter. Contact some people that you would like to use as references and ask if they would be willing to do that when you get around to finishing what you need to be doing. So get the people lined up and get their updated contact info and tell them what you're doing. More accountability. If you need a portfolio for the position that you are applying for, start pulling together what you would like to include in that so that you have all of those things in one place. I know this can feel exceedingly daunting, and I have several resources at Careers by Jen for you. There is a absolutely free 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge that you can sign up for by going to the website, and it will pop up. There's a little pop-up bar that will show up, and you can click on that. You enter your email address, and then for 5 days, you get an email from me into your inbox with one task that you need to complete each day. And by the end of the 5 days, you will be well on your way. These are not difficult tasks, but you will get an assignment every day that will help to get you started on your job search and help you to get all this stuff put together. So if you want a concentrated task list of what to do to start a job search, then you can sign up for that. It's absolutely free. And lots and lots of people have gone through that to help them get on their way. I also have, it's a bit of a hand-holding motivational nudge is what that one is. I also have a resume course, which is a do-it-yourself resume creation course for you, where I walk you through what you need to have on a resume to make it one that'll get looked at. I have a longer interview prep course called How to Ace a Job Interview When You Haven't Interviewed in a Long Time. And that course is one that will completely prepare you for that job interview, especially if you haven't interviewed in a very long time, if you can't, you're not sure how it is. And I recently did a tiny little YouTube video on virtual job interviews. So tips for doing an interview if it's virtual. Some things to think about as far as how to set yourself up for a job interview online. And that's on my YouTube channel that you can also find. And if you want some personal coaching around career change, I do have some openings on the coaching page as well. So there's lots to help you there with getting yourself ready for this midlife career transition. Now, I wanted to mention next week's guest, and I just have to find the... Oh, I never do this. I never make rustling noises, but I just need to pull out who it was that I was talking to. Next week is a guest interview episode, and I'm excited and delighted to bring to you Cheryl-Ann Skolnicki. And she is an entrepreneur. She has a company called Brilliant Balance. She is also a work-life coach and mentor. She has a podcast, and we are talking about from job uncertainty to career confidence. That is the podcast that will be coming out next Thursday, and I am delighted to be able to bring Cheryl-Ann to you and to the world. And so I hope you'll tune in for that one, because that actually fits really well in with this topic that we're talking about today. All right, well, that's it for today. Please stay safe and healthy and aware of those negative thoughts that are bringing you down. You are capable and whole and completely worth it, my friend. You just need to believe it to start with, and then you can go from there. All right, until next time, take good care. You've been listening to Careers by Jen with Jen Swanson. If you like what you heard, please share this. You know, if every single person listening today shared this episode with just one friend, our audience would be twice as big just like that. And the more people we can help with our content, the better. So help out a friend and help grow our audience by sharing this show with someone you know who would benefit from the content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take good care.